All
And
right.
I'll shamelessly plug Ron. If you would like a copy of that prayer, please let him know. He's already posted it in Slack. And if you don't have anyone that's comfortable praying for your meetings, use that prayer to start your meetings with.
Yes, thank you, Ron, for writing that up. He should we give a little bit of background as to why you're doing this, Ron?
Yes. Me or you?
You can, since it's your heart that's on it.
So I listened to people talk about not being able to do a prayer, and I'm living proof that you can do that. I'm also living proof to realize that God works in real strange ways sometimes and gives you the strength to give that prayer out. So my hope was that we would pass it amongst ourselves and have it wherever we were going so that instantly we could bring that prayer out, and it would be the same everywhere we were. And if we all do the same prayer, there's more strength to be gotten from numbers of people doing it and making a difference. All I want to do is make a difference.
Thank you, Ron. And you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, you've been trying to find your niche, and I think you found it. James says, "Where's Ron's prayer posted?" I think he posted it last week in the prayer channel, and so you might have to scroll a little bit, but he might be able to post it again for us all.
I think I pinned it in the channel, so you should be able to find it pretty quickly using the pins.
All righty. All right, we're gonna go over.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah, so we're going to go over, so we talked about a couple of weeks ago where the state leaders came together, meeting. When I say state leaders, that means Darren York and Tom Bartell, myself, Jamie, and Jim Burkhart. And we spent a couple of days together. Don Bednarz, Dana Oakes was there, Paul Gastineau, and Mike Defendahl. And we spent some time together over the weekend, and said we really need to repeat this every week, our aspirational goals and our mission, because there's a lot of new people that get on the call and they're not kind of quite sure where we're at and what we're doing. So we're going to repeat that. So our aspirational goal and mission is to inspire a political and spiritual awakening in America. And our mission is to build an engaged army of self-governing grassroots activists. And our primary goal is to call a convention of states. The 6 core values is preserve constitutional originalism, foster responsible self-governance, cultivate servant leaders, be kind, produce meaningful results, and rever Judeo-Christian values. And Texas's immediate goal is to remove the expiration date placed on Texas's Article 5 application. So I wanted just to go through those with everyone, and we'll continue to go through them each week. So Ron started us off in prayer, and so is Jonathan on to give us a national update? Maybe. Did he post?
I don't believe he is.
Okay, did he? Sometimes he'll post a video for us to play. Did he happen to post anything? I'm not going to look here, but if not, we can move on and see if he pops in a little later. Darren, do you have anything that you want to share?
Nothing other than the Texas Servant Leadership class is scheduled. If you need the link for that, if you are interested in attending, that's also posted in Slack as well, but I'm happy to share that link with you. I believe we've set for Thursday night, September the 7th as our first class. So looking forward, I think we've already got probably a half a dozen or a few more that have already signed up for it. So don't be late. Enjoying, looking forward to having everybody come and be a part of that. And then secondly, just real quickly, remember I started working on the graphics for the Texas 150. Which is one prayer warrior in every House district. And God's opening the doors and gradually adding them one at a time. picked up another one Saturday at my son's wedding, actually. So, it's kind of neat to see how God's just providing them one at a time. So we're going to have 150 prayer warriors in the state of Texas talking directly to their house reps. And I think that's just going to be a powerful, powerful means for God to leverage his influence in our state operations.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about servant leadership, why someone should join? What is it exactly? And how often, how long?
So servant leadership is basically the essence of our COS culture. So it's based off of a book by a gentleman named David Kunert by the same title, and National Mentoring and Ministry teaches servant leadership on a regular basis. In the Friday leadership roundup emails, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can register for the national classes. And they have those classes every day of the week, just about any time that you can imagine during those times. I think we're up to about 8 or 9 mentors that are teaching those classes nationally. So if you can't make the Texas class, be a part of that, wherever it fits in your schedule. But the essence of this material and this course, it's a 9-week course, and we really spend a lot of time talking about the cultural and the biblical aspects of servant leadership. So we talk a lot about how we set goals in COS, how we act, learn, and adjust, how we learn to listen, how we learn to communicate, how we deal with difficulties, all of those things, really our whole organizational culture inside COS. And we want that to become really the preeminent presence of what people see and think of when they see COS is servant leadership, and servant leaders as political activists, being a part of this awakened spiritual group of folks that are now engaged. And as Ron said in his prayer, Lord, give us the ability to recover what we've lost in regards to our Constitution.
And I believe David is rewriting servant leadership.
Actually, COS is rewriting servant leadership.
Okay.
David gave us permission. I'm not sure when we will have that copy right now. I think it's slated to be next year. But next year, we will start with a COS servant leadership book that has been rewritten with all of the reflection questions and the direction for the course in a COS workbook. So the book and the workbook will all be one thing that you will get from the COS store directly. So you won't have to go to order it somewhere else and get the book and then have to deal with reflection questions each week and that type of thing. But if you have any questions, let me know. It's a great time. I don't know, John and Tara were in the last class. Ron was in the last class. We have several people online that took it. Nancy, several people that were in the last class. That was the Texas only class. And one of the reasons that we do the Texas only class is we want to build that community here in Texas as servant leadership. So that's one of the reasons that I've dedicated myself to having a couple of classes a year that are Texas only to help build our Texas. But then I also want to make sure that God has the opportunity to impress upon some of our Texas folks to become servant leader mentors, because I really feel like God wants to raise up an army here in Texas to be completely different and mobilized to do great things with his direction and with his strength. So if you've taken the class and you're interested in being a mentor and teaching that class, then let me know. We'll get you into the right folks and get that process started for you as well.
Perfect. And that was a perfect segue talking about John and Tara. So are they on this call? want to introduce them.
There they are.
Are you there?
They are.
She's just waving. We can't hear her waving. Go ahead and say.
Hey guys. So I just wanted to quickly introduce y'all to them. They both have signed up to be legislative liaisons in their district. And so that is kind of a new concept for us. We've always put that on the shoulders of the district captain, and they can, if they feel comfortable with that, then they can do that, the district captains. But John and Tara have agreed to be our, I don't want to say guinea pigs, but kind of guinea pigs for being legislative liaisons in their district. And so they would be solely responsible for meeting their legislators. So that would be the state representative and their senator. And as new volunteers or new petition signers sign up, then they would invite them to come and meet their legislators. So it's not such a scary experience when we just, you know, we tell volunteers, oh, just call your representative. And it's kind of a scary thing. I remember when, you know, when I first signed up and they said, okay, your first task is to call your representative. And I didn't know what to say. I was kind of scared. I didn't know if he would say smarter things than what I could say. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is a great concept, and I appreciate you guys stepping in to kind of be the first ones to be local legislative liaisons. Okay. We can barely hear you.
We have an audio issue again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hear you now. You want to try again? No? Okay. Okay, so you spoke with Tom and Paul last night to kind of get oriented. That's good. Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. That's the perfect start, is to, you know, get in touch with Paul Gaston, who's our state legislative liaison, and kind of get the lay of the land, where we're at. And so good job.
And they will be teaching all of us, including me, very shortly.
Yes. That's what I think you do. Thanks, Paul, for doing that. All right, so you guys just heard Paul Gaston, who our state legislative liaison. So let me share screen again and move on. Tom, do you have anything that you want to share? Political awakening. I know there's a lot going on in the state of Texas.
Erica, can we say anything about the special session?
Yeah.
So we know that Abbott is going to call more special sessions, and Erica has been working with his staff, so it's still a matter that's under consideration for potentially Convention of States being in one of the special sessions in order to remove the expiration of our petition. And so there will likely be a call to action on that, where we'll want to get people to contact Governor Abbott both through email and phone to express support for it being in the special session. We're not pulling the trigger on that now. We're not calling for that now. I think that there's another little visit that maybe you want to talk about, Erica, that you've got coming up next week. And I also see that Jonathan's on now, Erica.
Okay. We'll get to Jonathan here in just a minute. So so on Sunday, one of our district captains in Dallas, Chris Cuneo, he texted me and he said, Erica, where are we at? And I was like, oh, I forgot I needed to send an email to Corey Fish, who's one of Abbott's policy advisors that I've been in discussions with. Started back in January. And so I just sent an email out. I knew that I wasn't going to get a response back. And so yesterday, I thought, let me try to call him. And so I picked up the phone and I called him, and I was surprised that he even answered. And so I said, hey, last time we spoke, you said that you were going to, take this back and come get back with me on a decision. And I said, do we have anything new? Can you tell me anything new? And he said, Yeah, so Convention of States is on the list of considerations. And I said, so does Governor Abbott know that? and and he said, no, not yet. We are making a list, and he will be presented with that list shortly before the special session, which they are thinking it'll be in October. And so it's not solid yet, but that's what they're projecting. And I said, well, okay, so what can I do to help? How can I make this happen? And I said, should we do a call to action? Do you guys want us to, make a lot of phone calls to your offices to make sure that Governor Abbott is aware, or how does this work? And he said, well, he said, I can't provide any strategy points for you. He said, but we do count phone calls. So count is important. That's what I received out of that. Count is important. And so I thought, okay, well, we have petitions, and I didn't tell him this, it just kind of came to me this morning. And I said, we have petitions in my mind. And I thought, okay, I'm going to talk to Jonathan Viewad and see, maybe we should just print all of our petitions off in a list. Well, that's 225 plus petitions, what did that calculate to, Tom?
6,000 pages. It's 225,000 petitions, not 225.
So if you think about a ream of paper, a 500, right? That's seven of those,
Wow.
Yeah. On front and back page, right? I think that's what that was. Front and back, 7 of those reams. So then we were thinking, okay, how are we going to pay for that? So, anyways, we're going to figure that out, but I'll be in Austin next week for the Patriot Academy, Coach Congress, which is a mock legislative session, so that we can learn how to participate in a legislative session. We'll be practicing Robert's Rules of Orders. I had to file a bill, and we'll be there at the same time as the Veterans Congress. And so I think we're going to each be, I don't know yet, but it'll be really fun and exciting. And I'll have that information for you of what it's like the week after next. And somebody else is going to have to run this call next week because I'm not going to be here. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And so when I go down there to Austin, I plan on visiting Corey, and I hope to have, we're going to have to figure out the cost and all, and how to do all this, but deliver those. And then Darren had an idea. You want to tell him about your idea?
As far as the graphic, the picture?
Yeah, to physically doing something to get a picture, which kind of sounded kind of.
So we're going to try to, once we get that signature list printed, so you can imagine 6,000 pages, a little over, kind of what that looks like. I have a copy of the annotated Constitution, which is that big book that you've seen pictures of. And then we have the pocket Constitution. So basically, we're going to lay all 3 of those side by side so that we can get one picture. And basically, the image is this, meaning all of the petition signers in the state of Texas are working very hard to get rid of this, which is that annotated Constitution, to make it what it originally should have been, which is that pocket Constitution. So we'll work on the wording and how all that goes, but I think that's a powerful, powerful image to be able to see the impact of the amount of people in Texas that are working to help our nation recover itself.
Yeah. So is Mike Defendahl on the call? No. Paul, do you have any updates that you want to give? Paul Gastineau? Is he there? Oh, there he is.
I am. No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on legislative wise. I mean, do you know what happened this past special session? They passed the.
Sure, but I mean, property tax at one point in time was my thing. I can talk, but I don't know that everybody here, unless they're just ready to go to bed, I can put them to sleep with talk on taxes, but that may not be.
I think everybody's interested in not paying taxes. So,
Yeah, I think, and you know, from a personal opinion, they've divided up. They've given it to a whole bunch of different people. They, you know, gave, in my opinion, the residents a little bit more and cheated businesses, which is what Democrats normally do, which is how they're acting. And then they didn't give back near as much as they could have. You know, the state has plenty of extra money, and from that standpoint, it's a disappointment. I think from the standpoint of getting convention of states, it shows that they at least are starting to work together. And of course, I think the Paxton trial will reveal whether they are more or less cohesive. And I think we need to be real careful as we go forward. We don't, in my opinion, want to get in the middle of them when they're fighting with each other.
I agree. So, and then I heard today Biden is suing Texas. Don is laughing. Biden is suing Texas because of the border situation, and we're not supposed to be defending ourselves, I guess. And
that'll prove to be good for Abbott politically.
Yeah, so these are,
We didn't ask permission.
those are some of the, you know, we're in election season now, and those are some tactics, you know.
Oh yeah, the White House press briefing today, they had a field day with it.
Yeah.
But we're right.
All right. So then coalition update. So Deborah, Damon, I know that you said that you were going to be on tonight to talk about something. On.
I don't think Deborah's made it.
She didn't make it.
Don't
Okay.
see.
And then Joanne, you wanted to maybe say something about Laura?
Sure, I'd be glad to, because as you and I've talked about, I am super passionate about this. And Mark Spoon has graciously, based on the information that you and I've given him, put together the charter, and I have posted it in the Laura Coalition's channel. I'm hoping that the people that are already in that channel will go ahead and pull it up and review it. I'd like to have your input on it, and anybody else who wants to be part of this livestock, agriculture, and rural affairs committee, which I think by day becomes more and more important, because without food freedom, we don't have freedom. So anyway, that's all I want to say about it now. I want to get, you know, get get your check mark on the document, and let's get this rolling.
Yeah, so a little bit of background on coalitions. For the precinct chair connection, this Saturday we have a full day precinct chair training. And so I think that's what Deborah was wanting to talk about. You'll find it on the conventionofstates.com/TX-events. And it will be in Austin. And these coalitions, somebody might be thinking, okay, well, what are we doing about why livestock, ag, rural affairs? What does that have to do with convention of states? I'm going to actually let someone else talk about that. Why is that important for convention of states? Alish, maybe you're good at that.
So it's convention of states is a concept not just for convention of states, but for, as you say, self-governed citizens. So the issue is that we cannot trust just a few people in power to run our lives and just trust them to do everything that's good for us, right? And as history's shown, the people who get in power are basically mainly evil, total tyrants, with few exceptions, right? So when they are not left unchecked and actually people stop paying attention, they do whatever is good for themselves, pretending that it's good for you. Right? So basically, the idea is that it's take up causes and things which are important for our lives to prevent big government to effectively screw us over.
There's a lot of government overreach when it comes to farming, livestock, agriculture. And so I think that having this coalition and possibly showing up at Farm Bureau Association type trade shows, rodeos, those kind of, to get more petition signers, to get more interest in Convention of States is a good way to grow. And I think any really industry that is receiving or is on the other end of, you know, this government overreach, it could be mining, it could be, you know, all kinds of things. And this is a chance for those that are like-minded, being farmers, can come together and talk about the issues that they're experiencing together in regards to government overreach. So that's what that's about. Anybody have any questions so far? Okay. All right, save the date. We went over this last week, October 13th through 15th in Bedford, Texas. We are going to have our state strategy meeting, and we might even rename it to Leadership Summit. But right now we're still at state strategy meeting. I did confirm a hotel already, so be looking for links to sign up to, you know, to book your hotel rooms. And the hotel has given us a free conference room, which we might need on Sunday, but really we're going to be at a church for the most part of the meeting. And so we're really excited to try out this new place. It's right next to the DFW airport. So, you know, if you fly in, then it's right there. So some of us can come and pick you up, or you can even take an Uber. Right now, I'm going to move on to scorecards if there's no questions about that. We are building that agenda for the state strategy meeting, so it's kind of coming together. But right now, our legislators, we're in the summer, they're home from their legislative session, and scorecards are starting to come out from various organizations. And someone posted this week the TURF, which is transportation, I can't remember, urban something freedom, road freedom, I can't remember exactly what TURF is. You can look it up, but they just came out with their scorecard, and there's a lot of F's on it. So that includes toll roads, anything that has to do with transportation. So you want to take a look at that in Slack, or just kind of, you know, just search in your you know, kind of Google, I hate saying Google search it, TURF Texas, and look up their scorecard. These scorecards are really important because we have a lot of incumbents that are not freedom loving, and you're going to want to know how well your legislator did, and possibly talk to them about it, or even possibly share it with others, because we do have the primary season coming up. They're all going to be running for office, and they first have to pass through the first hurdle, which is the primary election in March. And that is when the party votes for their preferred elected official to run in the November election. So if you're always saying things like, I always have to pick the between the two evils, don't do that anymore. You know, go to the primary and pick the good guy, because the good guy has they have to have a lot of money to win these races, and a lot of them don't have this money. So please help, you know, by block walking, sharing information, sharing these scorecards, and being on social media. There's no need to be angry about it or blaming or pointing fingers or anything. It's just sharing the information, and a lot of people just appreciate others sharing information. And people can figure it out themselves. You don't need to say vote for so-and-so or don't vote for so-and-so because of the scorecard. Just share the scorecard. Texas scorecard also has several on their page. And those are up to date. Texans for Fiscal Responsibility, I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Their scorecard has come out. And the party, I am going to guess that the party will be coming out with their scorecard in September after their state meeting. So that's that for scorecards. And now's the time to get to know who's running for office. You know, when it comes to your state representative, your state senators, and a lot of the other officials, judges, because they're all going to be running in the primary. James, you have your hand raised.
Yes, have you seen Texas scorecard there, a breakdown of the contributions that were coming from the casino in Las Vegas?
I've been hearing about that. Yeah, I've been hearing. I haven't looked at it. I heard it. I listened to Luke Macias's podcast this morning, but I didn't have a chance to look at it. You want to give an update?
Well, my question is, all that money's coming from some pretty good guys, I think, but they're Republicans that a lot of this money's going to, like Thielen, but also Lieutenant Patrick. I mean, they're going to them. And how does that affect politics in Texas?
Well, you pay to play, right?
It's donations. I mean, it's not even clear. Somebody might not even know who's behind it, but it's going through another group. But
yeah. They're not they call themselves Republicans, and that's what we have to really be careful about. Is there are groups out there that have the word Republican in their name, but that does not necessarily mean that they are Republican. So you got to be really careful about which organization actually belongs to and is accepted by the parties. And then there's even your elected officials, they might have the Republican Party or Democrat Party next to the name, and that doesn't really reflect sometimes what they think. So we have to really be diligent in our research and talking to other people and looking at their actual votes. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to keep liberty alive. Any other questions? All right, I'm ready for.
Wait, how do I raise my hand?
Oh, I didn't see your hand. Well, there's a button.
It's not raised because I don't know how to do it.
Well, just speak. You're on. Okay. You're the girl.
Well, now I'm gone. Okay, just on primaries, nobody participates in. It's so important to do that. You got to find a candidate and get behind them and support them in the primaries. That's all.
And you know what? I'm talking about you, Dawn, because you said that you wanted to block walk in Anchia's district.
I do.
I got an email. I got an email yesterday from the guy who's running against him.
Oh, really? Who's running against him? I don't care. I'm for him. 100%. I love him.
I'm trying to remember his name. But I'll send it to you. He did run against him last time and lost. And it looks like from what I could tell, Anchi got 13,000 votes, and which is about how many Democrats voted in the primary versus I think it was 2,000 votes of how many voted in the Republican primary in that district. So it's a very blue district. And so that's a lot of block walking that we would have to catch up with.
It is. And we would need bilingual block walkers.
Yeah.
But it would certainly be worth understanding that going forward, whether we go knock on doors or not. So I'd like to see, if you've got an email or something, I'd like to see that too.
Okay. I'll send it to you. Yeah. I think we
should. We won't beat him. I just want to scare him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't have any expectation of beating him.
Giving him a run for his money. So the reason why, a little bit of background for those that don't know, when it came to our bill this last legislative session, it died because of because of him calling out a point of order. So,
Which was
that
not relevant at all to anything possible. But it's okay. And then he smirked at me. He smirked at me.
he did. It was
That's
we all saw it. Yeah, we all saw it.
So maybe our strategy needs to be in his district is to block walk for COS and find lots of Democrat supporters for COS rather than trying to beat him. Let's just get his constituents, as many of them as we can on our side, and let them put the heat on him to support us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was my first idea.
So
I'm open
let's
to anything.
people about COS in his district, because I have a feeling if the poll's correct, at least 50% of them are going to support COS. So let's go get them.
You know, they all
Oh,
want.
they will. They will. And they don't know what he stands for.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we focus just on COS, that's a positive message. We won't make him mad. And yes, Paul Gastineau, I have a strategy for me to go and talk to him. I have the whole thing lined out, my whole conversation. But
I know you do.
yes, I do. I have been awake many nights, but I've got it figured out. But yes, if we can get COS supporters in his district, that's what we really, really need. We can't beat him. He's going to win re-election, but we can get supporters for COS.
I think it was like 689 COS supporters.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
none. It's not.
More. And then if that doesn't work, we send in our special guest that just joined us, Mr. Al Torres.
Yeah, Al.
Al, can you speak Spanish?
You guys.
Who can speak
I miss
Spanish?
you guys.
All I can say is cerveza.
Dos cervezas, por favor.
Yes, exactly. And Pichu Carrero Joto. I have no idea what it means.
Hey, Erica, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Miss your face.
I miss you too. All right. So, Tom, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I have. First of all, I had two things. Now I have three things. Two of them are for Dawn. See, Dawn, you can raise your hand. You just click the reaction button down at the bottom, and then you click raise hand. I bet you can do it. My second thing is,
I don't have a reaction button.
oh, well, but you do have reaction. That's good. My second thing for you is don't ever say something in a foreign language if you don't know what it means.
It makes everybody laugh.
I've had some bad close experience with that. Not where I was doing it, but where a friend was saying some things and didn't really know what he was saying, and it turned out badly. I wanted to just mention that in November, some of you will be having school board elections, and I'm just reminded of it this week because I did a call with Bill Ely, and he's going to do surveys in the Cy-Fair school district. And so if anybody is interested in how that whole process works, I'd be happy to jump on the phone with you. We've got a little proposal that you just take it and you can modify it, and then National will create a survey for your candidates. The big thing is understanding who the candidates are. And the survey questions try to get at what are their underlying positions on some key issues like school choice, parental authority and rights versus the school's rights. So if you have people, or if you're passionate about what's going on in the schools in your area, it is a way that we can have an impact, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody about it who would want to get involved in that. But I'm sure that it varies. You know, some have elections in November, some are in May. You'd have to look into that locally and do some searches basically in your local elections office to see what's coming up in November. But some of the deadlines are approaching to file for the November election. So it would be the time to start to figure out who all those candidates are that have filed, make sure we have contacts for them, and start moving through the process. If anybody's interested, it is something that quite often, people within your area can get quite passionate about with some of the crazy that has been going on in the schools. And now I'm gonna go over to my reaction and I'm gonna lower my hand. Look at this, Don. Look at that.
All right,
I
so
can't find that.
that's okay.
Whatever.
Don't
I'm
worry about-
hopeless. You know that, Tom.
just say when you want to say something, Don. So
Okay.
I wanted to go through some highlights of some of y'all district captains and regional captains and what you got coming up. So I know, James, you've got a gun show coming up in San Antonio where you might need some help. Have you I gave you some phone numbers to call to get some volunteer help. When is that again? Is it November?
November 10th or 12th,
November 10th through 12th. Yeah. Awesome.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And then Henry, I see you on. I hear talk about a parade in Denton. Is that coming up? Are you guys going to do that?
Yeah, we're supposed to be doing it. We've been talking with Tim Cox about it, so that's something we're working on.
Okay.
It
When is that
should be a go.
Should be a go. Good.
I've got some other stuff I wanted to talk about.
Good. Go for it.
I was at a meeting last night, our election integrity meeting for our county, and our precinct, not the precinct, our county chairman confronted me and asked me about if I was still going to be working the elections and that again for this coming election cycle. And I said, yeah, I intend on it. But he informed me that he's got to put the names in for all of the election workers, whether they're going to be judges or clerks or if they're going to, like what I'm doing, I'm going to be working at the signature verification committee. And then they also have ballot boards now. All of those names have to be submitted by the end of this week, I think.
By July 31st.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, and he was telling me that we've got a shortage of
Election workers.
judges, yeah, poll workers and that. And I'm trying to find somebody from some of these areas. Calling a few people that are listed as volunteers in COS. Some of the people that I know in COS and that are from around that area, and I was trying to call some of them, but I'm not having any luck at getting anybody that's interested in doing that. And this is what we're going to have to figure out a way. We COS is going to have to figure out a way of getting people involved in understanding how the voting system works.
Right.
These things are, we've got problems, and we're a fairly red county.
Yeah.
And we're having a hard time getting people in there. If we don't have Republicans, or if we don't have conservative type people, COS type people in there, we're going to end up with radicals that are running the elections and stuff. Ain't no telling what we're going to have.
Yeah.
And this is in red county, conservative areas.
Yeah.
So we got lots of work to do. I know Bill Ely has been working on this stuff a lot in the Harris County area, and it's tough. It's just tough. We got to do something.
Yeah. So
But anyways, I'm working with some of that stuff. Elections are everything is already taking place. People need to be understand that these things don't happen just in the spur of the moment. There are things that are planned and worked out way in advance. Yeah. And so that's one of the things I wanted to mention, let everybody know about.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that's true. And it is a commitment, and it's hard to find folks because the work is done during work hours. And it's hard to find people that can commit to the entire election end-to-end process because a lot of times they don't accept just one day or a half a day, or they'd rather have consistent people in there. And it's not just, saying, okay, I'm willing to do it. It's also passing the party's, vetting process and taking the courses, and so it is lengthy, but if you can do it, for sure, sign up and find friends to sign up with you.
And it's
See,
miserable.
the primaries are actually a function of the two parties
It is, yeah.
coming up in March or whatever, they're February and March. Those are actually a function of the particular each individual party, the Democrat and Republican parties. So those are the people if you're a Democrat, you need to get with your Democrat county chairman. If you're a Republican, you need to get with your Republican county chairman. And they're the ones that submit the names and stuff to the elections officials for each county.
Right. Yep. So if you're interested, either contact the party chairperson of your choice, and or go to your election administrator's office of your county and tell them that you want to sign up. And it has to be done before July 31st if you want to be a judge. Other positions don't have that deadline, but if you want to be a judge, which is not hard, it's, they teach you, and that's what's needed, go ahead and sign up. We're going to go ahead and move on to Jonathan to give us a national update, and then we'll jump off the call.
Well, thank you, Erica, and good evening, everybody. Sorry I was a little tardy. I was on the Oklahoma call, and they were giving out a Patriot pin, so they asked me to hang around for that, which was nice. As far as national update, there's lots going on. First of all, for any of you who helped make phone calls into Louisiana, thank you very much for taking the time and doing that. I'm happy to report that one of the two pieces of legislation that we were supporting there to have the veto from the governor overridden during the session last week was successfully passed. And that was House Bill 648, which now bans gender modification surgery on minors in the state of Louisiana. So really important piece of legislation that had been vetoed by their governor, but was successfully overridden. And that was the only piece of legislation that was overridden during the session last week. The other bill that we were supporting was to stop the sexualization of children in schools. And obviously that's an important piece of legislation. Came up maybe 2 votes shy of the necessary 2/3 threshold in the House. So it didn't even make its way over to the Senate during the session last week. That's okay though. And the reason I say that that's okay is because the more important of the two ended up getting passed. And that protects children right away. It stops these ridiculous experimental surgeries that are being done on children. It's not to diminish the other piece of legislation by any stretch of the imagination, but there's other recourse that's available right now, right? People can be involved with their school board and know what's going on and make an impact at the school board level, or talk with principals, or start getting into schools, or maybe take your kids out of school and bring them and homeschool them, or go to a classical school, or whatever the case may be. But there are other ways that we can take action there right now, at least until we get the legislature back in session next year, and hopefully we'll be able to get it across the finish line then. So super proud of the Louisiana team. And again, I want to thank anyone who helped making Telepatriot phone calls. It definitely made a difference, so much so that their state director, Julie Sandiford, got this message from a legislator, and I just want to share it with all of you. She said, "Julie, I am convinced that without the relentless efforts of COS and other grassroots organizations, the state legislature would never have overridden the governor's veto of House Bill 648. The emails from COS members within legislators' districts were especially effective in persuading legislators to override the governor's egregious veto. Thanks to the hard work and dedication of COS members, the children of Louisiana are safe from irreversible experimental sex change procedures that maim the body and destroy the soul. Thank you and God bless." That is from Gabe Firmament, who was the author of that legislation and state representative from District 22. So very proud of the Louisiana team. And one thing that I've emphasized when I've shared that with other teams, and I'll share it with all of you, though I think the Texas team certainly knows this better than most, that is what we can accomplish, right? And that we accomplish because of you. right? Julie has been very complimentary of myself, of Joyce Berry, of Brenda Carlin for helping get things moving there in Louisiana, but we didn't get it done, right? The national organization, you know, obviously you got Mark Meckler coming up at the top of the hour, so you can catch that and listen to him. And obviously he's important for starting the organization, and Mike Farris right there along with him. But we aren't Convention of States. You are Convention of States. The grassroots make up the foundation, make up the heartbeat, make up everything that Convention of States is all about. And this is a clear demonstration of the power that you have. And I couldn't be prouder of the Louisiana team. And I know that we get things done in Texas, even as frustrating as Anchia made us, we still got things done here, right? And we would have had that across the finish line, but for the shenanigans that were pulled there. And it's because of you. It's because of the grassroots. So I just wanted to emphasize that and to say thank you to anyone who helped making Telepatriot phone calls. Last week, we also had the COS at Home webinar with Senator Rick Santorum. I'd encourage you to go and check out the recording. If you did not catch it live, you can go to conventionofstates.com/COS at Home for all of our recordings of the COS at Home webinars. And I just added that one with Senator Rick Santorum, so you can check that out. He's a national treasure, and we are very blessed to have him serving the Convention of States movement. We also announced that the next COS at Home webinar is going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Convention of States. Yes, next month, Convention of States turns 10. It's hard to believe. I've been involved with it for 9 years, so it's just crazy when you say that out loud. But Convention of States will be turning 10, I think on Sunday, August 13th is the date. And so we're going to be having the COS at Home webinar at some point. I'll have more details on that coming up, but just wanted to bring that to your attention. Obviously, next week, Colonial Williamsburg, we're going to be having the Convention of States Foundation simulation. I don't know if Erica talked about that earlier or not, but I saw she had it under my bullet points there. We do have a press release that you can get out there. So let me know if you need that. We can definitely send you the link to that you can get out. We also have a template for you to host a watch party if you're interested. And the streaming for the simulation will be on Friday, August 4th, starting at 7 a.m. Central Time. I'm not suggesting you have a watch party at 7 a.m., but it is going to be going on throughout the day, so you can get together with people later in the day if you want and catch it. And the reason that it's only Friday is because that's when the big action is taking place. That's the plenary session where they'll be voting on any amendments that are proposed by the committees, which will be taking place the day before. So we didn't want to bore everyone with all of the committee discussions. The live streaming will be taking place on Friday. And like I said, it's going to be going on throughout the day. So if you're interested in a watch party, we've got that template available and some other instructions. Just let us know and we'll be happy to send that to you. What else? Last thing that I wanted to mention is we've got another Telepatriot mission that's going to be starting up to help another state. And I think it kind of ties back to the Louisiana effort to protect children, because we're going to be protecting children in a sense with what we're doing in Ohio. And what's happening in Ohio is they have a special election that takes place 2 weeks from today, August 8th. And what they're doing is they're voting on a resolution or a ballot measure to raise the threshold for amendments to be added to the state constitution in Ohio. So the way it stands right now, 50% of the vote plus one will pass any ballot measure. All it takes is 50% plus one to have it added as an amendment to the Constitution. This vote in 2 weeks is proposing to raise that threshold to 60%. And we're in favor of raising that. And the reason for that is because we feel that when you're amending a constitution, it should have a bit of a higher threshold, right? In order to amend the Constitution of the United States, it takes 75% of the states to actually vote in favor of that amendment. So we are in favor of raising the threshold. The other reason we're in favor of it, and the reason that we're in this fight, is because there are other organizations that are out there that are advocating for getting amendments added to the Constitution of each state that codify things like abortion on demand, which is something that's going to be up for a vote in November's election, in the November election in Ohio. And these organizations are kind of doing an end run around the legislative process by trying to get it added as an amendment to the Constitution instead of going through the legislative process, having the legislators propose bills and debate them and everything like that. We've seen this happen, and I want to say 6 different states already. And so we're trying to take a stand in Ohio and prevent that from happening because we believe in protecting children, right? We protected children in Louisiana. Now we're trying to protect unborn children in Ohio by supporting this ballot measure. So Telepatriot mission is going to be starting very soon. I was hoping that it was going to start today. We didn't get it across the finish line. It will be starting very soon. And if you have the time to help us turn out the vote there in Ohio, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. That's it for me, Erica. I know we're running short on time, but unless there's any questions, turn it over to you.
Thank you. One last thing, I think Tawny has a comment or a question.
Oh, just one thing to help support getting the word out a little bit better. One of the things that we do is we have an influencer group, but if everyone on here, there's 25 people on here, we don't have a whole lot of social media push on LinkedIn. Like our stuff gets 1 like and like 1 comment or 6 likes and no comments. If you would just go and just kind of keep your eye on that and make sure to like, comment, and just comment something really short, like 14 characters is the best, and then share it. If all 25 of us would do that with each post that comes out, like we would exponentially get into a ton more feeds. So that's just one suggestion, that if we can just kind of keep that top of mind, to go like, comment, and share on anything in the Convention of States, and the link is in the chat for the LinkedIn, just to throw that out there.
Awesome. I love that. So thank you, Tony, for bringing it up. And we need to probably talk about that more going forward. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you guys. Have a good night. We'll be seeing you on the next call.
Good night, y'all.
Love y'all.